Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mental Conditioning Monday. I'm your host, Elliot Allen. And guess what? We're back in my favorite mental conditioning gym this week. We had a little bit of an outing last week. We was on location. As I said, sometimes you have to stop. And no matter where you're at, make sure that we get these messages in. That's an important part for me. That's an important part for the mental conditioning movement message, to be able to do Mental Conditioning Monday each and every week. I do like this location because this is an area where I really just do my best thinking. And so it's befitting to do Mental Conditioning Monday from here because I can draw off the energy of being here. Although sometimes in life, change is good. Sometimes doing things in a little bit different way is good. That brings about more proactive thinking. That brings about more reactive thinking sometimes. When we change our settings, we keep doing things in the same setting. Sometimes you get a little bit stale. You get a little bit stagnant with your mindset. So being able to do it in a different location, sometimes whatever it is that you're doing is switching up. And so that's the same way for me. Sometimes I actually, it doesn't necessarily happen but on purpose. I do like to do it here. But when I get an opportunity or I have to do it in a different location, it's kind of a good thing too, because it just really kind of puts me in a different mind frame to see things from a different perspective. But at the same time, be very, very cognizant, very, very clear of the message and where it's coming from and why it's so important. So we are back here this week. I'm excited about that. Hopefully everybody out there had a good, powerful week. As we get ready to start another week, we're already, this is coming into the third week of the year already. Time just moves so fast. The beautiful thing I believe about life is that no matter how difficult situations are, no matter how good situations are, no matter what the situation is, time is always moving. So you always have to make adjustments. You always have opportunity to heal. You always have opportunity to get better. You always have opportunity to adjust to situations, which is always a good thing. You always have an opportunity to protect, where you're at. I like where I'm at, so I need to keep protecting that because time is constantly moving. That's a beautiful thing about life. So let me get into this week's message. This week's message is going to be mental deep cleaning. Mental deep cleaning. I kind of thought about this one and to draw the analogy to dentist and going to the dentist. When we go to the dentist, which I don't like to do, but I'm pretty good. I go pretty regularly to the dentist. And when you go to the dentist, they do sometimes what they call a deep cleaning. So when you come home and each and every day, you may really do a good job of taking care of your teeth. You brush your teeth, you floss, you do all the things necessary. But when they go, sometimes they say, well, you need to do this deep cleaning. And I think that's an interesting analogy to mindset. When you go through things in life, when you go through tough things in life, and it's inevitable that these things happen, just like us eating food. We have to eat food. So no matter what, it's sometimes kind of funny when you go to the dentist and you get that cleaning, they go in there, they give you a good cleaning. You're almost like, oh man, I got to go eat. And it's going to mess up everything that they just did. But you have to eat and you have to live. And when you live, things are going to inevitably happen to you. And you cannot take that away. But at the same time, you have to remember that sometimes we have to go back and make a deep cleaning of our mindset to reset ourselves, especially when we go through tough situations. So you have to really take that time and say, you know what? I need a deep cleaning right now in my life. And that's really, really, really an important piece. Because if we don't do those things, it's just like your teeth and going to the dentist. That's when you start to build up plaque on your teeth. We can build up plaque on our mindset. You have mental plaque on your mindset. And what happens when you have plaque on your teeth for a extended period of time, you start to get decay. Your teeth start to decay. You start to have develop issues with your gums and things of that nature. Mindset is the same way. If we don't do that deep cleaning of our mindset, if we don't do deep cleaning of the situations that we have that occur in our lives that we don't have any control over, these things do happen. If we don't do a deep cleaning of those things and really, really come to a peaceful resolution about these things, it starts to decay your mind going forward. And you're going to have mental decay, mindset decay. These are things that sometimes cause us to actually have to go to seek professional help. Because sometimes people have things that happen in their lives that's so traumatic and they're unable to do a deep cleaning on that. They're unable to mentally catch a handle on that. And if you don't do it, we can't hide that. That's why I think this analogy is so right on point. There's no way you can hide that. The plaque won't go away from your teeth. You can't hide that. You can maybe brush your teeth and things of that nature. But if you have that in between your teeth decay that's building up, plaque that's building up, you can't hide that. It's going to tell on you. And our mindset is the same way. I'm going to use the analogy of, or the example of, when we have relationships in our lives. I like to use relationships because this is something that really sets us forward or back in our lives. We have painful situations that happen to us in a relationship. If you don't deal with that, it may have ended in a bad way. That's going to be mental plaque. If you don't deal with that and do a deep cleaning on that particular situation, as you move forward, you're going to have mental decay with how you deal with people, how you deal with life. A lot of these things that happen, sometimes people have traumatic things that happen to them as youngsters. Traumatic things that happen to them as youngsters, and they never was able to deal with it. Whatever it may be, sometimes it's bullying. That's a big thing now for our youngsters, is bullying. But bullying is not something that's new. Bullying was around when I was a kid. It was around when my parents was a kid. I'm sure it was around when my grandparents were kids. But these are things that if you don't deal with that, if that's not something that you do a mental deep cleaning for. And when I say deal with it, it may be something that you never physically dealt with. You may have had a bully in your life early on, and you never say, well, you know what? I stood up to the bully and I fought him and I knocked him out. That may have never happened. That person may have bullied you from the time they were in your life to you just became grown and the person just was eliminated from your life just through circumstances. So you never physically dealt with that. But mentally, that pressure that was put on you to be bullied for those X amount of years, that's something that you have to do a mental deep cleaning, a mental deep cleansing, because that's going to actually affect, believe it or not, how you deal with people, how you interact with people. Now you're going to go out there and you have to get a job. You may get a job where you have to deal with people. That can actually affect you and how your career runs. So these are things that we have to really take a deep and very close look at when we're talking about doing mental deep cleansing. It's really, really important in our lives to be able to understand and recognize that fact. We talk all the time about self-evaluation. That's, of course, a part of self-evaluation. But I think when we're talking about a mental deep cleaning, it goes even deeper than that. When things happen to us, we sit down, we go into mental conditioning gym, and you start assessing and say, this is what's happening with this. I got to make this adjustment. I have to make that adjustment, because unfortunately, life doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop for us to say, okay, let me sit here for 3 days and do this self-evaluation. That's the hardest part about self-evaluation is time. I mean, I opened up talking about time and how it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's a challenging thing because time never stops. So we don't have time sometimes to sit there and do a self-evaluation for 5 days. Some things happen to us in our lives where we certainly can take 2 weeks to evaluate that and figure out what the hell just happened here. We can do that. We need to do that. But unfortunately, the circumstances of life don't allow us to do that. But we still have to really gauge. When you do your self-evaluation, I have to really look at, well, how traumatic is this on me? And if it's something that's really traumatic, then you have to make that appointment and say, you know what, I got to take a time out right here. And I need to make sure that I do a deep cleansing on my mindset. You have to make that happen for yourself. This is a big part of execution in life, combined with your mental strength and understanding mindset-wise, where are you at? But sometimes you have to really make a conscious effort to say, I need this mental cleansing and I need to stop everything right now. I'm not going out. Don't call me. I'm going to call in for work. Listen, I need to take a vacation. I had a few days that's coming to me. I need to take this vacation now. I need to make sure that I need to get what I need to get done from my mindset to do that deep cleaning. I implore everybody to make sure that you do that because, again, most things in life, a lot of the challenges that come up in life, we generally can just say, you know what, I got to do this self-evaluation and then move on from it. We can. We have the ability to do that. But sometimes things happen to us that are really like overpowering mentally to our mindset. But that's part of the self-evaluation, to recognize that. But you have to do some execution behind that. Once you recognize that, now I have to say, what I'm going to do about it. And now I got to recognize I need a deep cleaning here. I got to make this appointment with who? Me. I got to make this appointment with me, myself, and I to be able to go in and do this deep cleaning on myself mentally, to be able to say, let me take a look at this. Let me see what's going. I can't wait until next year. We just come out of Last year and going into New Year, we talked a lot about turning the page and setting new goals for ourselves when that time comes. We can't wait. It's January, so something happened. You can't wait till January of next year to say, well, I'm going to do a deep cleaning on this situation. No, because that will cause such a mental plaque on your mindset that by the time next January gets here, you're going to have mental decay that you will not be able to recover from, that you're going to have certain pieces of your mindset that's going to be permanently damaged. So I implore everybody to really understand how important that deep cleaning of your mindset is. It's a really important thing that we must do, but we have to recognize when that time is necessary. I'm not suggesting that every situation that happened to us, we got to sit down and take 5 days to assess it, because that's not conducive to our lives either. That's not conducive to our forward progress. But sometimes you have to be able to recognize, like, I cannot move forward unless I really do a deep cleansing mentally on this particular situation that I'm going through. If I don't do that, then I cannot. It's impossible for me to move forward to my natural destination where I'm trying to go. That's that standstill where it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And that's sometimes where it's so dangerous and becomes so much decay that we need to have professional help, that you have to go and sit down and talk to somebody and to be able to bring that stuff out of us. And that's part of the deep cleaning sometimes, that you realize I need to go see a specialist. It's just like at the dentist. Sometimes, oh boy, you really need a deep cleansing. We're going to have to send you out to a specialist that really gets underneath the gums. And sometimes it's like that for us mentally. We have to really see a specialist, which is professional help. That's okay. That's okay. To me, I think that's a great thing when we can recognize I need some help to bring this out. Once we can do that, then we go in and get that deep cleansing that we need, and you'll find it. Just like when you leave the dentist, you have that, remember I say you have that feeling of like, oh, that feels real good. I feel real fresh inside because they really did a deep cleaning on that mouth and you feel great. Mindset is the same thing. When you get that deep mental cleansing, you can really sit back and say, oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Well, no matter what happened, I'm ready to go now. So that's one that I want people to really think about that and really be able to recognize. You might not be there right now, but think about that when those situations arise. Recognize when you need to do that deep cleaning in your life and when you just need to make sure that you keep doing your self-evaluations. But there's a difference there. And I want you to recognize that because it's a fine line and it's a dangerous line that you're teetering on if you don't recognize the two. That's Mental Conditioning Monday. My name is Elliot Allen. I'll see you here again next Monday. Everybody have a great week, powerful week. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. Here we go. I love it.